Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. We have an Iota video for you guys today. Big interesting news coming out a few hours ago relating to the development over in Dubai. This is something that's been going on for a few weeks now in terms of conversation, but the announcement came out via a blog and other PR formats of Iota earlier today relating to a $100 million treasury outburst of investment, for a better word, towards the Iota Foundation and the development within the Dubai district. It's absolutely phenomenal. Obviously a lot of money, and it has had an interesting impact within the markets, which we'll go on to a bit later in this video. But before we go a bit further into this conversation, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and also hit that like button if you enjoy the content we have on the channel. And of course, there's a multitude of different discussions and topics that we speak about on the channel, Iota of course being one of them. In fact, we try to cover Iota as much as we can, but at least once a month. It's projects I hold dearly in my portfolio, and it's certainly one that I'm very, very interested and passionate about from its technological perspectives. I think it's no secret on this channel our thoughts on Iota and certainly its capabilities. And if you need a deep dive on what a direct cyclic graph, or at least the technology that Iota use in the tangle mechanism, do check out the introductory videos that we've done. And also I've done the best I could really with a video around DAG in general. But yes, the last couple of videos of Iota, one being around the European Data Act and their influence on those side of things. So, and even more recently, a few changes relating to the 2.0 infrastructure of Iota's mechanism moving forward, which kind of reiterated around the fact that they weren't going ahead with the assembly token aspect and more focused on the Shimmer network or the Shimmer platform to develop the ecosystem of Iota further. So we'll go into that a bit more detail in a second, but it's for sure very interesting to see this development. And I think it just magnifies the global presence of Iota. I still honestly believe that this is a massively under the radar token, first of all, but also project in general. And I think that the more you understand about blockchain and the abilities and potential integrations with the likes of artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, etc., moving forwards, Iota really does come at the top of the pile. And hopefully many of you out there have been sort of monitoring the situation of Iota with ourselves, with the videos that we do, but at least for your ability to try and do your own research on this particular technology and project, because it is absolutely phenomenal. And I think it's so early, it's such early stages, even though it's been around for a number of years now. I believe truly that within the years of 2025 and 2030 you're going to see significant rise in Iota. And I know that's going to happen across the market in general, across a multitude of assets, but with Iota, I feel with its presence within things like the European Union's blockchain associations, etc., building the frameworks for them, and now the news coming out more recently about the expansion, the word expansion here, as we see in front of us, in the Dubai market. Now, one quick thing here. So this $100 million worth of tokens being nurtured for the ecosystem within Dubai is absolutely phenomenal. So one thing to pay attention here is the Abu Dhabi Global Markets, the ADGM. Now, this is very important because it's been around for a number of years now. In fact, I think it was created around 2015. And since the development of that kind of initiation or initiative, for a better word, Dubai has really positioned itself as a very strong contender to be a crypto hub, but also a blockchain hub in general as well. And the developments since then, we've seen things like the government actually, very much making blockchain 100% integrated with the likes of documentation, removing itself from the paper aspects. And it's something we've seen recently in the UK with the Electronic Data Act, where it's become law essentially over the last few months to allow the use of blockchain, DLT technology, smart contracts, etc., to formulate contractual deeds and assets in general, tokenization of assets. And of course, the cryptocurrency, digital currency utilization has also become law in the UK as well. So there's a lot of framework building still to be done, but Dubai and other regions have been doing this for some time. And I would argue that now the UK is on board and developing those laws, it becomes a real open case, in my opinion, across the world. Now, Dubai's market value is absolutely huge, of course, in general, the whole aspect of real estate, the utilization of blockchain, the utilization in general of how much money is involved within and inside and outside of Dubai. So when you see news around the likes of Iota really developing in this area, it gets quite exciting. And this number is not small, $100 million worth of tokens. And I'm not sure if the market has shown today whether that price influx is because of this, and perhaps a big chunk of that money has already started to be utilized in the foundations aspect of seeding, if you like, over the 4-year period that they have given. But it's a big jump, guys. It was about 68% increase earlier today in such a short space of time. So it would indicate perhaps that is the case. Amongst, of course, a lot of people maybe FOMOing in and seeing that rise and trying to get a part of that. Now, usually within the markets, when things like this happen, is you see a big fluctuating pattern within that day, and certainly a lot of retaliation around profit and loss and those key markers on the fib levels. And we haven't seen too much of that. It literally shot up and then very much retraced it down quite quickly. So it would indicate to me that that was an injection, or a small part of that $100 million coming into the equation of the treasury. But this part here is quite interesting. So welcoming Iota, one of the most established and well-respected blockchain protocols in ADGM's DLT regime. Now, one thing to add here is that Iota has become the first DLT blockchain to be regulated by the Dubai government and the infrastructure of Dubai. This is huge. Now you can imagine all the chains that could develop and produce a framework, or the tangle mechanism that Iota can provide, is gone ahead of all of them. And I'm not saying Ripple, etc., haven't had their part to play in other areas, because a lot of the chains out there dedicate themselves to specific areas of finance or specific areas of their strengths within the technology that they provide, whereas Iota is a full, complete framework, a full entire system that can be used. So when we talk about in previous videos about the simultaneous utilization of artificial intelligence, IoT, 5G, cloud, blockchain, we know that Iota has a very big principle here to bring all those together and utilize them in a simultaneous way. And a bit more background on that, you can watch the other videos that we did. This is not what I'm going to do in this video. I'm just very much focused on this particular news article, but the fact of the matter is that if you can imagine the power of Dubai, the amount of money, the infrastructure that's already in place, the transportation, logistics, supply chain, everything is highly positioned to be essentially a giant trial of how everything could really work under this kind of platform. So for me, it's definitely a pinnacle of information that's come out that will essentially define how blockchain will go for the rest of the world, in my opinion. I think it's an absolute benchmark of an opportunity moving forward. So Dominic Schneider, who obviously announced this in simultaneous fashion with the blog post from Iota as well, the news is finally out. Iota is the first licensed and regulated DLT foundation in Abu Dhabi. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I love seeing this progress of Iota. I've been following it for a long time. I've been going on about it for a long time. I've always said this under the radar. And I don't think this is the end. I think this is very much the beginning of the opening chapters of Iota's history. And the fact that they've ticked this big box off, and particularly with the entity of Dubai, it's a really big step in the right direction. Of course, Dubai positioning, as I said, positioning itself as a very, very important area of blockchain development and crypto use from the now and the future. Of course, the mention here about medical services, we've got the likes of transportation, supply chain, all those things I just mentioned in this, I wouldn't even call it an emerging market. I think it's here right now. And that's why I said just a minute ago about this being a fantastic representation of the capabilities of blockchain with something that's already here. And there's obviously specific reasons why Dubai has picked Iota, or at least the other way around, in the sense that Iota has also picked Dubai as this area of interest. So for sure we'll cover this story as it develops over the coming days, but I just felt it was important that if you haven't heard already, this is out there now. And just to be aware, of course, we'll jump into the chart right now, just try and keep this story a bit short. One of these things that always happens in these instances is people get very excited and they jump in quite quickly and don't see the retaliation of market rise and potential reduction at the same time in such a short space of time. So we've seen a 68% increase from the opening price this morning up to the latter stages today, and of course that's retraced slightly, so we're now currently floating around this 25 cents. Now ironically, yesterday I was purchasing a lot more at that 17-cent mark, which has been floating around for some time. I didn't take advantage of this rise because I didn't hear about it till quite late, which is very infuriating, but my Iota tokens are on the Firefly wallet anyway, so there's a partial lesson in the sense that sometimes it's good to have some outside the native wallets ready for transactional opportunities. But I'm here for the long run of Iota. I think there's a lot more to go than this 25 cent and even this marker that we got up to. I think the high of 28.9 cents couldn't quite reach the 30-cent mark, but if I just drag this out a bit more quickly, you see a good representation of the different barriers that it tried to get past. And of course it couldn't quite stretch itself over this 27.45 mark for very long. It couldn't quite reach the 31 cent mark either, but we have indeed retraced back to this rough area around here, the light blue concentration area of around 24-25 cents, and ironically very close to the orange bar here that we mentioned that could be of critical interest in the near future. Why? Because if you look at the data points in history, there's some very good resistance data here and support data here as well, so confirming that it couldn't quite break that barrier and support itself until relatively the last couple of hours, where it is literally currently floating just above that. So it'd be really interesting to see if we stay up here for a bit longer or we retrace ourselves back down in the formality of the pattern that we're in the essentially closing stage of the bear market, but we're still in that area, of course, still. So there's a lot more price action to come for sure. There could be a retaliation to this drop where people see too much stability and this may rise again. And certainly as other markets wake up or get sniff of this news in the next few hours and in those early mornings when they try and catch people out across the other side of the world and vice versa, you might see another reaction of a price increase. We'll have to play this by ear, but the point being is just be cautious and keep a bit of a strategy in your minds, remove the emotion and be very strategic about it because it is volatile in these situations. And as you can see here on the RSIs at the bottom left here, 76 and 70 respectively on the 14 and the 28 day RSI indexes. So it suggests to me that it's a bit high for me. If I was new to Iota, it's very risky to jump in now because we're at the higher stages. We might want to see if there's some stability over the next day or two, or at least the next several hours, to see if there's any kind of restriction on the movement there a bit further. So let's keep an eye on that. But of course the indicators on the right hand side are showing a great story here across the board for Iota, both on the weeklies, monthlies, the yearlies, you name it. It's one of the very few assets that has this powerful greenery across the board, and that's just indicating the strength of Iota. I think more and more people are becoming aware of it as a project, a technology and a utility token, and what technology behind the Tangle system really is. And I think it's an exciting time as development across the regions, across countries worldwide over these next several years is going to be absolutely powerful for the development of blockchain, for the development of the integration of blockchain. And certainly the story of Iota is only just beginning, in my opinion. It's still under the radar, but we will keep an eye on this. We'll do a few videos over in the coming weeks of Iota's price positioning and what I'm doing personally. It's not financial advice obviously, but just my opinion and what's been working for me thus far. But please do research Iota if you haven't done so already. Check out the previous videos that we've done, but this is an exciting time. It's a really exciting stepping stone for Iota, and us as holders, and us that are interested and passionate about the blockchain crypto space. It's absolutely fascinating. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. We'll catch you in the next IOTA update. Take care. Bye bye.